good characters can do. And when I did Mercy Among the Children, I started out in a way to tell a simple story where the father, Sidney, would be badgered by a neighbor who hated him for some reason.
Yeah.
But Lyle, who was telling the story, took over. Lyle, as the narrator, took over the entire part of the entire world of the story, and it became much more elaborate and much more intense because of Lyle's view of his father and of the nature of his father's pacifism. So it became a whole different kind of thing, and it was because Lyle was such a powerful influence in the narration of that story. It's hard to explain, maybe best explained by writers who are a little schizophrenic in that so much is developed through the characters in their work.
So in a way, you become the character, or part of you becomes the character in order to write it that good?
Yeah, part of you becomes the character. If you don't have empathy for the character, then you can't breathe life into them. If you don't associate with the character, then you can't make them alive. It doesn't matter whether they're male, female, good or bad. Some of my favorite characters I created are women, and if you don't have empathy for them, you can't create them.
You can't understand them.
Yeah. So I mean, it's kindness is the greatest virtue, and if you have empathy toward the characters, then it's then you become part of them and they take over. Good or bad or indifferent, they take over as you're writing the novel. The better the character is, the more their own feelings and thoughts enter into the scope of the book.
Which books that, you wrote over 30? What are your top? Which ones are your top 2 books?
Oh, I can't say.
No.
Oh no, I can't say. I mean, I'll leave that to others to say. I mean, I've had the gamut of criticism. Let's face it. I mean, people have said I write terrible things about the Miramichi. Other people say just the opposite. So people will have their say about my books, and I'm the writer of the book, but the public are the ones that are going to decide in the end.
Well, there's no pleasing everybody when you put yourself out there in any manner, whether it's a video, whether it's writing, whether it's a politician. It's impossible to please everybody.
Yeah, but I have some books that I like. Early on, Blood Ties, I like very much. Mercy Among the Children, which won the Giller Prize, I like.
So what year was that roughly?
2000. Year 2000.
And okay, so you're writing in a few decades past, and at what point did you become appointed a senator?
2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
Was it a shock to you, or did you see it coming, or?
Well, you see, in this newfangled world we have to apply to be a senator.
Apply?
Yeah, you apply to be a senator. You could apply. You could apply if you want. You might become a senator.
You have to fill in an application.
You fill out an application. What it is, it's an appointment by merit, and it's always been an appointment by merit. But before this sort of merit-based program they have, it was just up to the Prime Minister and his staff to decide who across the country they want to appoint. Now you fill out an application, but it's still merit-based. It is in a way the same thing. Now I was not going to apply to be a senator, but Peg said, "Why don't you apply to be a senator?" And so I hummed and hawed, and she got the application. So really, it was Peg's idea, but that's fine. And I applied, and for 8 months I heard nothing about it. And I said, well, they don't want me. And then I got a call from the Prime Minister, who asked me to go to the upper chamber. And I will say, when the Prime Minister calls you to do something, I think it is your responsibility to say okay, unless you morally disagree with it. And when he called me, I said, of course, I will go to the upper chamber. And I'm glad I did. I think the Senate is extremely valuable in Canadian politics, and not very many Canadians know about it, and which is a shame, because it's not a bill or a piece of legislation that can be passed without the approval of the Senate. And every bill that comes from the Parliament goes through the Senate to be either amended or approved of. So the Senate is an extremely important part of our parliamentary responsibility.
I've heard it described as the sober second thought.
Yeah,
That okay, the members of Parliament will do their thing and come up with bills, and then in a way it's presented to the Senate, and the Senate says, okay, what do we got here, and what are the implications going down the road as well?
right.
Was that a fair assessment?
That's a good assessment, yeah. The bills are brought to the Senate and they're debated in the Senate, and they go through 3 readings. The first reading is introduces the bill. The second reading, you have a vote on it to see if it's going to go to a various committee. And when it goes to committee, then it's studied and either amended or approved. And then it goes back for 3rd reading in the Senate. The 3rd reading is voted on, and it passes. It goes back to Parliament. That's how the Senate operates.
So in your office as a senator, do you have assistants? Do you have people that can do things for you? Or are you basically alone?
No, I have a parliamentary director, Diane Lacombe, who's a wonderful woman, very, very, very astute and understanding representative of a parliamentary director. She knows when the bills are coming. She knows who's on what committee. She's very helpful. She's also bilingual, which I'm not, which is essential in your office. So yeah, there's that. But I have my, I vote on my conscience, and I write all my own speeches. I don't need a speechwriter. So I don't. Some offices have speechwriters. I don't need a speechwriter. I can write my own. But I need Diane Lacombe. So yeah, it's. I guess it's in many respects, it's like many other offices. You have your staff. I used to have 2 on my staff. I now have 1. The young woman I had earlier on my staff, she left to go back to Toronto. But I found out that I only need 1 staff member, so that's fine.
Is the travel, how many times would you go back and forth roughly?
Oh, a lot. We're back and forth out of a lot. We either drive or take the plane, but when bills are coming through for legislation, I usually stay in Ottawa. We have an apartment up there, my wife and I. So
She travels with you then?
yes,
back and
yeah,
forth?
usually.
Well, that would make a much more, personable. when
Yeah,
you're up in Ottawa.
yeah, it does. Yeah,
That'd be a big bonus.
yeah.
In your position as senator, and I don't know how it works, so that's why I'm going to ask. Do you have any ability to lobby for things that are of local Miramichi interest with the government, or is it just a hands off from the PMO, and you're strictly sober second thought?
No, I mean I represent New Brunswick and I represent Miramichi, so I've been fighting for the salmon for 6 years. I've been fighting for rejuvenation of our salmon stock since I came there. I've talked to multiple Department of Fisheries officials. I've talked to ministers of fisheries. I put in a plea to Minister LeBlanc just last month, just before I left, and asked him a question period in the Senate. And I know he's concerned about the salmon in this area too.
So you know the Miramichi Salmon Association a bit? Do you know?
A bit, yeah, a bit. Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't belong to anything. I don't
okay.
belong, I'm not a joiner. I don't belong to the New Brunswick Writers Federation. Well, they say I do, but I'm an honorary member, but I haven't joined. I don't belong to the Writers Union of Canada. I don't belong to Penn International. And you know, I'm a senator, which is fine, but I don't belong to the Miramichi Salmon Association. Although I hope everything turns out for a salmon. But you can only do what you can do, and you're only one voice.
Well, this is it.
Yeah,
But at least you know you have a conscience in your health and the motivation to still, you know, stand up for the Miramichi where areas that you see that needs to be stood up for.
yeah, and I think most senators from all the regions they're from do that for their own region.
So you've got to know, I would say, most of the senators,
Most of them, yeah.
um, and they're from all walks of life. Is that
Yes,
true?
yes, yeah.
And they're both bilingual, anglophone and francophone.
That's right, and First Nation.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, the First Nation, yeah.
And how many, roughly? Do you,
Senators?
yeah.
There's 105 senators, that fills the slate, but the slate is not yet full. So there's others to be appointed, because people reach 75 and they retire, right? So
Okay, that's how it works.
that's how it works out.
So you have 4 more years, roughly?
Well, no, I'll be 73 in October,
Okay.
and so I have 2 more years, but I could go at any time after 74. I just, I'm not sure if I'm going to stay the full allotted time. I might leave at 74. I haven't decided yet. We'll see how it goes.
Yeah, I would think it would have a lot to do with how you feel, how your health is.
How your health is, and if
what Peggy wants to do.
yeah, there's a lot of things. Yeah.
You know,
Mhm.
and is it the amount of work that goes into it? Is it like 40-hour week when you're up there? Is it 60? Like,
It depends on the week. Depends on the week. You sit in the afternoon. You generally sit from 2. On short days, you sit from about 2 to 4:30.
Okay.
On long days, you sit from 2 until midnight. I mean, and the closer it gets to summer break, the longer you sit. So there's days when you go in. Sometimes you go in at noon and you'll sit right through till midnight. And then there's committee work, and the committee work can start at 8:30 in the morning. So it is. It can be a very hard slog. It's not a. It's people say that in the Senate, these old guys are put out to pasture. Well, I'd love to see the pasture some people in, because I'm on 3 committees. 2 years ago, I was on 4. That's a lot of work, and then you're sitting 4 days a week, sometimes for 10 hours a day. So it can be hard. It can be long and involved.
a little bit exhausting, I would think.
And of course, everyone has their own opinion on the bills, which is a good democratic thing.
Right.
But it can be exhausting. Yeah.
Well, as you say about democracy, the only bad thing about it is it's so messy.
Yes, that's true. And that's very true. You know what Churchill said about it?
What's that?
It's the worst form of government except for all the others.
Well, yes, but nothing's perfect, and you have to go with democracy over, dictatorship,
Yes, you do. Mhm.
right?
Right.
Which will just destroy the country. We've seen that many times before.
Mhm.
Is there anything you want to close with?
No, I'm closed.
You're all closed
Yeah,
up.
it's been nice. Thank you.
And I'm assuming, yes, that your books are available at the library or
Yeah.
different areas around the Miramichi.
Yeah. Well, they used to be all here, but the bookstore burned down in Newcastle. But
Right.
but you can get them. I mean, they're on Amazon.
Okay.
They're in 1,000 places. So
Yeah.
yeah.
So you're going to be here for all of August, or when you go back?
Oh, I think, well, the Senate sits again on the September 19th. A documentary on my life has just been completed by the National Film Board. So I might go to a film festival or two if they're, because of that.
So that should be coming in the fall?
It's in the, should be, yeah.
Wouldn't Mariners love to see that?
Well, we'll see. I think it's I think it's good. I think it's a good film. So, yeah.
Well, I want to thank you for your
Okay.
time.
Okay. Thank
And,
you.
it's you're well known in the area. Maybe our most well known person that's an author in the whole area, roughly.
Yeah.
So I was really glad to talk to you and
Okay.
get some insight of how it is that a writer thinks.
Yeah.
Because not many people can do it. Some people can do it, but they don't do it well. Right.
Yeah. Well.
So
Yeah. I'll keep on plugging away. It was so funny when I was young. It was so funny when I was young because, you see, when you're a young anything, and you just leave everything behind, and you burn all your bridges, which you essentially have to do if you're an artist. You have to burn all your bridges, because if you leave a bridge open, you're going to screw back to that. If you leave a bridge open to be a teacher, you're going to screw back and be a teacher, or you're going to screw back and be a professor with your pipe and all the books and stuff. But if you burn that bridge and cut it and quit university and say, this is what I'm going to do,
you're
from
truly
now on,"
independent.
then you're independent and you're going to sink or swim. And
Takes a bit of guts to make that leap.
yeah, that'll be crazy. Maybe a little bit of both, right? Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Okay.